Welcome back, everyone, for another Voice in the Void episode with your host, Brandon. Today, I have a special guest with me, Miss Tori. I'm going to go ahead and just shoot her the mic so she can say whatever she wants to say, introduce herself in any way. So, what do you got to share, Tori?
Hi, I'm Tori Sachs. And first off, I am so excited to be here. I am an alignment alchemist. So I work with Eastern modalities to align people, spaces, and homes, pets and animals, just bring them into alignment, balance, and harmony. And I view alignment as where healing meets guidance. So, like when you're working with me, I'm giving like unique curated guidance. And like if we work with, kind of like multiple sessions, you'll get different curated guidance every time. Because I think it's really important that sometimes when, you're working with someone, be like, okay, this was great, but now what? Right.
Right.
So, like I said, work with many Eastern modalities, virtually and in person, and I end up channeling a lot of times during session.
All right. So, I guess we're just going to jump into that. So, with the whole alignment talk, like it said that you do a bunch of different types, right? So it's like, what do you have a favorite way to do alignments, like a personal choice that you run with? Like, say, the physical alignment, as you said, right?
Yeah, so I work on the mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, family systems, ancestral, and then also the physical body. And so really it just depends. For me, it's like a really creative process. And like it started out where it would be like, oh, just come in for Reiki because I'm a Reiki master, just come in for crystals because I'm a crystal healer. And or just come in for whatever because I work with a bunch of different modalities. But then it got to be like, well, if you're coming in and you really need like a combination of things, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, you really need this, I'm not gonna give it to you. So for me, like I love that every single session is different. That I'm always like it's really client led in the sense that like when you walk, like for example, like if you were walking through the door, we're like in this virtual sacred space, right? Like your energy is presenting very differently today than let's say, next week or even tomorrow or even later today. So depending on like what is presenting, that is what, or the intention, like that is what is the highest priority that we'll work on in session.
Okay. So, for like, it also says you do the mental and emotional, but aren't they kind of like in the same sense of aligning or not?
Yes and no. So, like I'm also a Vedic astrologer. So we look at like the mental body being more ruled by Mercury, and like we all have planets, like we all are made up of 12 planets, even like our business, even animals, even plants, right? And then like the emotional body we can look at being from more so the moon. And then there is like a little bit of a connection with the moon and the mental body as well. But like let's say someone has like a lot of anxiety, right? Like where does that live in the body? Like if you're constantly having like, overthinking or just really fixated on certain thoughts, or like what does that thought look like? What does that feel like? That would be more in like, the mental realm. Versus like having issues with decision making or clarity of thinking, that would be like more in the mental realm versus like, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's coming up for me in this moment. This is where this emotion lives. Or every time I think about this situation, this emotion is present in my body, or I'm charged with a certain thing. So it's a very nuanced. Like I think if someone wasn't working as heavily entrenched as I am on like a daily basis, and then be like, oh, well, like they're similar, right? But actually, like when you get into the energetic frequency and presence, like there are some nuanced differences.
Okay. So what would be a way you would take somebody through a mental alignment?
So really, I work on all of them at the same time. But again, it would just like be like, okay, what's going on with you today? And then from having a conversation, like I talked about with the anxiety, or I'm having a really hard time making decisions. Okay, well, what does that look like? And then it's like, okay, well, where does that live in the body? Like, is it really in the mind? Is it all over? Is it in your auric field, like in our personal space? But then also we can look at like there's so many different connections and attachments. So like when we're talking about the mental body, because we could then talk about, okay, is this a pattern that is like a family system or like ancestral pattern? Like, has this been in your family, right?
Mhm.
So that's just going like a little bit deeper to understand, like, is this really contained in the person or is this contained in like the family system? And so if it's more so in the family system, then like it might be a much deeper like alignment or deeper like healing that needs to happen.
Okay. All right. And spiritual alignment.
Yeah.
So, what spiritual and energy? I always thought they're kind of like really close, kind of like the mental and emotional.
Uh-huh.
So, what would you say the difference is between those the self? Is it just like the feeling you get, or
Yeah,
like
so like someone's like, for example, like the energetic body. So when someone presents themselves, like let's say someone has not been sleeping, they're just
Mhm,
exhausted, they're taxed. Like when their energy presents itself, it's like I need a nap, right? It's like
mhm,
I'm here but I don't have capacity,
yeah,
or I'm okay. Like some people are like I'm fine, and you're like I'm reading or I'm scanning them and it's like you're actually not okay, right?
mhm,
Purely depleted. And then there's like certain stones, like golden healer is a really good stone for like energetic depletions and like immune system stuff that I would work with. Like the yellow ray would be really good for some like kind of revving up that energetic body. So like that's the energetic side. And then the spiritual side of things is, well, again, looking at the planetary alignments, that would be pulling in your sun, the energetics of like your placement of the sun, but then also
mhm,
the energetic placements of Jupiter. Like both of those are seen as kind of like making up components of your spiritual body. And then, like, spiritually, are you listening to your soul? Like, are you following your soul and your intuition? Like, are you following that wisdom? Are you doing what lights you up? Are you
mhm,
feeling joy? So yeah,
uh,
they are, all of them are very interconnected, but again, there are
yeah,
like those nuanced pieces. Like, are you living your purpose? Are
yeah,
you following your code of like ethics? Are you making sure that like you are shielding yourself or protecting yourself or creating like healthy boundaries with not only yourself but with others? Like that would be, I would say, more so with the spiritual body.
okay. Also, what made what happened in your life that made you say, "Hey, I want to go help people in this way"?
Yeah, so I mean, I always was someone that really like wanted to be helpful. It was kind of like a joke when I was in, oh gosh, like middle school, high school. Like I, like friends would just like come to like the cafeteria table and they're like, okay, like it was like a joke that was like, oh, sister Tori's here. We're just gonna like have a little like conversation. And I never like thought about that, or the fact that like when I worked in marketing that I had a mentor and a boss that was like, hey, you just have really high EQ, like emotional intelligence, but like I didn't think anything of it. And then what really like led me down, there were like a few things, but what really led me down the path is I went through a really bad breakup. And so I
Oh,
really got into, like, from that breakup, like I really got into holistic healing. And like before that I was dealing with really bad allergies and that led me to Ayurveda, which then like having that breakup led me like further down the path of Vedic astrology and then Reiki and crystals and energetics of like Chinese medicine, and color therapy, like all those things. And then in 2019, from like starting to go down this path, I quit my job in marketing and moved to Spain
mhm,
to learn Spanish. And so I decided to stay during COVID. And then like some of my gifts started coming in when I was in Spain. And then I moved back because my visa expired. And I was also starting to import olive oil at the time. And that's when my friend was like, hey, I'm doing Reiki training. Do you want to be a part of this? I was like, yes, we'll infuse it in the olive oil. It'll be amazing. And then as I was practicing on other people, because like after you go through and become a Reiki practitioner, it's really good to start practicing, like getting that experience, right? And so when
right.
I started practicing on just like friends or family or just like people that I knew that were open to it, and I saw like complete shifts in them, I was like, oh, actually, it would be a real disservice if I just infused Reiki healing energy and the olive oil and then just was like, okay, done, guys.
Okay. So Reiki. What exactly is Reiki?
Yeah. So Reiki literally means universal life force energy. It's made up
Okay.
of two Japanese kanji symbols because it originally came from Japan. And it is something we all have within us, right? We all have universal life force energy. If we didn't have it, we would not be having this conversation right now. The difference is that I have been attuned to consciously take this universal life force energy to help facilitate healing or remove and release what is no longer serving people. But ways that you have received what is like energy healing, energy movement, or Reiki, right? Is like, let's say someone hugged you, right? And
Mhm.
you just felt grounded and you felt calm and centered. Someone or like you've placed a hand on a friend or family, like a friend or family member, and they've just calmed down, like their anxiety, they're overwhelmed, like they just took a moment and they could take a sigh. You've
Okay.
eaten food, right? Where you like someone cooked the food and you were like, this food is so good. Like I feel like someone just gave me a hug. That those are all examples of Reiki.
Okay. So it truly is Reiki is basically being in tune and being able to understand.
Yeah, it's that, but it's also, I mean, there's so many benefits of Reiki and it's unique to every person, like what your potential benefits will be like in that given moment, but also like from session to session. But it's considered like hands-on healing, but you don't necessarily like a lot of when we get attuned, like our hands get opened, the chakras in our hands get opened, we get integrated with certain symbols and mantras, but really, it's the ability to move energy.
Right.
It's the ability to move what is not serving people so that we can feel at our highest vibration. We can feel more at peace.
Okay. Okay. See, I never honestly knew anything about the Reiki or frankly the difference between a lot of the different uh well, I guess between physical, the
Yeah.
energy and all that never would have thought anything different
Yeah.
about it.
That's okay. I
Uh
mean, we're really just educated to focus on
yeah.
the physical, right? And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Like when I talk to my clients and we walk through a lot of things, it's because like we have been so programmed to focus on that physical. So even if like we're feeling tightness in our body, that we can still get so many learnings from that because maybe it's really not the physical. Most of the time it isn't. Really it's not the physical body, but because that's the only one we really pay the most attention to, like at least
Yeah.
first. But that can give us like the learnings to understand like, okay, well, is it every time you feel this emotion that you feel this tightness? Is it every time you're around a certain person? Is it every time like a certain you think about a situation, right? And then we can go down the path. So it's still helpful. It's just that most of the time it's all the other bodies that we talked about that are really like more so out of balance. And so it just
Mhm.
takes the physical one to really raise its hand for us to be alerted to it.
Fair enough. I see, I understand that a little bit.
Yeah.
Very a little, but I understand it.
Hey, I mean, if you wanna
Um,
go deeper, just let me know, like I said.
I mean, if you feel the need to, you can go as deep into the conversation explaining all of it.
Okay.
But truly, it's up to you if you want to be able to do that right now or whenever you want to. Just
Oh, yeah, no, I just didn't know if you wanted to go deeper with that,
oh, you go as far down the rabbit hole as you want.
oh gosh, we could go really far.
So you said you've always helped people.
Yeah.
And, I've always been told it's a form of selfishness from helping people because you get some type of you become satisfied in a sense that this person is now they're good, you've helped them get to certain points. Do you feel the same way as I've been told that a lot, by the way? Do you feel in that sense that uh maybe, like, you do it for your satisfaction? I can't even say the word today, but yeah, do you ever feel that way?
I think if you're, like, leaning into the ego, yeah, definitely, we can feel that way, but, and there are moments where, you're seeing someone fall and they're supposed to fall. Like, I'm
Yeah.
very like, now that I've been connected with these modalities for 10 years, and I've been doing this professionally for 5.
Okay.
It's changed a lot, right? So, I've made all the mistakes. Like, at the beginning, it was, like, more I don't wanna say, like, telling people what to do, but it was like, "This is what's, like I'm seeing the best thing for your energy, right? Or
Yeah.
for what you need." And now it's more like, I'm just a guide. Like, I'm coming alongside. You don't have to take my help at all. Like, if you
Okay.
want it, like, you want it, you're coming in for a session, right? You want it, you're
Mhm.
asking for help. But if you don't, like, there's a lot, like, kind of around karma and really just trying to let people have their karma and not take from their karma, right? Like, what
Yeah.
is really for them and the lessons that they need to learn. And so I would say for a while, it was, like, really a daily like, a struggle minute by minute because you really like, from someone that is here to really, like, serve, really wanna
Yeah.
help people, but if they really need to learn that lesson, then maybe they need to fall, and that's okay. So, when people come in, for a session with me, it's like, "Okay, this is what I'm seeing that would be really good for you, but I'm not telling you what to do." It's like, this is just guidance
Mm.
coming alongside and, if you want it, take it, if you don't, that's okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, no, I didn't want it to come out rude by any means when I was asking that. So I was trying to make sure I wasn't.
I appreciate
Um
it.
but just because, I have been told that cuz I've always been one to help people and I don't hold it over people's heads. Uh, it's not my place to do it. If I'm trying to help you out of whatever hole you're in, it's not my part to tell other people your business or
Right.
talk down on you in the process. Um, but that being said, is this where you seen yourself 10 years ago?
No. Like, if you had told me that, like, I'd be wearing crystals, I'd be talking about fairies, and I'd be, like, giving food to the ancestors, and I'd do, like, ancestral offerings, and, like, someone just tells me about a person, and, like, can start getting an energy read on them, no. I would be like, "You are smoking a lot of kookiness, and I don't know." Yeah, definitely not.
Are you satisfied to where you are today?
Yeah, no, oh my gosh. It's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey, but I really don't have any regrets about it. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know that we'd be talking, right?
Who knows?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. But it's like what's meant for you will always find you, right? So
Exactly.
it's about like your journey and how you get there.
Yes, ma'am. Very true. And sometimes the road's a little bumpy, but you just gotta somehow stay on track.
Yeah, yeah, and I believe that, I mean, we're in retrograde season right now. Like Saturn is about like you talk about like bumps, right? Like Saturn's about to go
Mhm.
retrograde tomorrow and he's all about restructuring. So like even though we want all planets to be direct, we love when all planets are direct, like we need the both because like this is a time where we can really reflect and be like, oh, that thing that I did, oh, this thing in my life, oh, this like structure that I thought was solid, actually, this is a house of cards and I need to work on that, right? And so it's just like getting you back on the path. And we're about to be in eclipse season in a few weeks. And that's when like a lot of people will get universal ruptures, right? If they're like
Yeah.
not listening to what the universe, what source, like all of that is telling you to do. But so it might not be the nicest, but I mean, I would rather get help with like, "Hey, this is not for you,"
Mm.
than continually, like, throw myself into the deep end and drown, right?
Right. All right. So you talk about the say Saturn going how'd you put it?
Retrograde.
Saturn's what do you mean by that exactly?
Just
For say like myself and others that may not actually understand why you're saying or how you're saying it.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so we have the zodiac and
Yeah.
there are at least in like Vedic astrology, I work with 12 planets. We all have an
Okay.
ascendant and like when we look at our birth chart, like basically when we were born, that is a snapshot of who we are and where the planets are in the sky. And that
Okay.
gives like the energetic frequency of like what we wanted to come here to do and the makeup of who we are. Does that make sense?
A little bit, yeah. It's kinda like there's a full moon theory, where if you work in like have you known anybody that works in like healthcare, like elderly care?
Probably. I'm trying to think.
And I only ask that because there's a full moon theory. Is when there's a full moon out, that's when a lot of the residents are elderly,
Yeah.
especially with dementia or whatever it might be. They tend to act way differently. Would you say that's kind of along the same sense of what you're talking about?
I mean,
Like, what's this?
little, like, I mean, that's different, a little bit different. I mean, it's combining the astrology. We're like specifically looking at the full moon, which is when the moon and the sun are directly um opposite from each other. But when I'm talking about like you being born,
Yeah.
you have 12 planets. So you have a sun and a moon. So you have your ascendant, you have your sun, your moon, you have Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and then you have the two nodes. So Rahu and Ketu are the north node, the south node, and then you have Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus.
Okay.
You have all of that, right? So we're like more than just like our sun, our moon, and our ascendant.
Uh,
All of the like 13 placements, right? And that makes who you are. And that also makes like how now the planets, like that is your chart. Like when you were born, you get all that info. That is your chart. And then we have the planets in the sky right now doing what they're doing. And so they're transiting your chart and they're activating your certain karmas. And that's how certain things are flowing in your life, like you having the podcast, us coming together and recording. And so a full moon, like the moon, every day the moon is in a different area of the zodiac, even though it might still be in a different sign. So those energies, those themes are different. A full moon, like I said, is when the sun and the moon are exactly opposed one another. So like if I was sitting in my house with all the lights on and you were in the house directly across from me with all the lights on, that would be like a full moon, right? Because it's directly opposing. Like one of us could be the moon and the other one could be the sun in this example. And so the energies are very palpable because we feel all the energies, but we especially feel the moon because the moon is connected to our intuition, our feminine energy. Like we all have feminine energy regardless of our gender. It's the ebbs and flows, it's the emotional body, a little bit of that mental body. So many, I mean, it rules every single Monday. So yeah, like when those energies are present, like the veil is much more open and things can just happen. That's why it's not just like, you know, elderly care and like people with dementia acting very differently. It's everyone because everything is getting lit up in that way and it's much more potent. And then if we add like if there's an eclipse going on, that just raises the temperature of things.
Right. Okay. Also, not to change the subject too much, I noticed the stones behind you.
Yes.
What do you I'm trying to think of how to say this.
Sure, just say it.
What is the reason behind all the stones?
Yeah, so I'm a crystal healer. So I work with the energetics of crystalline energy. And so crystal healing, when we work with the ancient art of laying stones on the body, basically when we work with that, we activate crystalline energy. So like crystals come from the earth. They are very pure source, right? But they vibrate at a much higher frequency than we do because they come from the earth. They come from Mother Earth. And so when we lay them on the body, like, you know, if we talk about anxiety, overwhelm, like all the ickies or, you know, inner child healing or like situations or people that are just not helpful. But basically, we're like at this frequency, right? And then the crystals are up here. So they basically, when we start working with them, they lower their vibration to come down to us, and then they start lifting our vibration. So when we lay them on us, like, and especially specific stones or certain stones, right? There's so many of them, but they help remove and release. So it's like kind of like water off a duck's back. So when we think about like a certain emotion or a certain situation that was like, wow, oh my gosh, I feel like someone punched me in the gut, like before working with crystals, afterwards it's like, oh yeah, that situation, like it no longer has that like intense charge, for example. And so I work with a lot of stones. They're all behind me. And I have more in my room, in my office. But depending on the focus, then I will work with certain stones, and I'm very closely connected with them and their energy. So depending on, like, that's why in session it's like, you know, I'll ask people certain questions like, hey, what's your intention? And depending on their answers, and, you know, ask like, how are you sleeping? How are you eating? Like, how's your elimination? Like, based on that information, it basically lets me know which crystals I need to work with, which energies, because they're literally like talking to me. Like, they'll just be having a conversation with me, like, oh, you need to use me, or like, you need to place me here. And if I don't put it in the right spot, like, I will not feel like centered or grounded until, like, because they're like, hey, you didn't put me in the right place.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I've actually been curious about the whole crystal agenda. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Do you want
So,
to know more about like certain stones, or do you have more questions about crystals?
I don't know the difference between the stones. I just like my uncle, he's big into the stone aspect. He's what people would call like a medium,
Yeah.
but he feeds off the energy of what's around him basically.
Yeah.
And so the stones has always caught my interest, but
Mhm.
it's one of the things I know nothing about really, other than what people tell me.
Is there
So,
a certain intention or certain thing in your life that you're working on and trying to manifest where maybe a stone would be good and I could just point you in the right direction?
in that sense, the podcast, I'd like for that to go farther so I can get more people and yeah,
What's holding
just
you back with the
make it grow.
podcast?
Uh, Mainly people rescheduling all the time, and it's other people not being able to find the time necessarily, after they schedule to hop on. It's happened quite a bit lately.
Well, yeah, Mercury was retrograde. Things should be better now with scheduling. So it's more about making sure that like guests are committed and show up so that you can have good content. It's not about being seen or people listening.
I mean, it is, but for me, it's just I enjoy the conversations with new people. So it's not necessarily I want to be heard and known, but
Mhm.
I'm not one to fight against what's not supposed to be right now, basically.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll push it. I like things to happen naturally.
Organically. Okay,
Yeah.
so just like more flowing with things. The stones that are talking to me right now would be pyrite, because that's really good for like manifestation.
Pyrite?
Yeah, pyrite, and then selenite. And I can put them in the chat for you. And then are you really sensitive?
In one sense.
Do you
Like
get over
emotional wise?
do you get overwhelmed easily?
Not really, no. Yeah, I guess it depends on the occasion. Like if
You don't
everyone
put
around me is emotional, then I feel that and I get so to speak awkward or emotional in my own way.
Yeah, like it activates you.
Yeah.
Like it's actually really not your emotions, but like you're amplifying other people's emotions, and then you're like, "Oh, this doesn't belong to me," right?
Yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah, okay, so, like, black tourmaline and hematite and, like, them together would be really good for you. So black tourmaline, like, they're black tourmalines of the, black ray, and I see you wearing that, black, and so black is a very, like, protective and shielding color, and so, black tourmaline basically absorbs all negativity, and then it pushes out positivity, and it does it in a really therapeutic way where, like, it doesn't feel really intense, if that makes sense, like, it's just doing it, and you're like, "Oh, this feels nice. I kinda feel like I'm floating on a magic carpet," right?
Alright.
Yeah, and it's and then hematite, like, is connected to the earth star chakra, so it's gonna help you feel really grounded, like, especially when you're around other people, and it's gonna, like, also shield you as well, and so them together is gonna help you not feel like you are taking on other people's junk. Like, it's gonna literally put, like, that armor on you so that if
Okay.
someone tries to, it just, like, reverberates. And I'm saying that from experience because after I went through crystal healing training and I started wearing black tourmaline and hematite together, like, skin to skin contact or, like, just in your pocket, for example, that's when I was like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like I finally have boundaries and distance from people, and I'm not taking on all their stuff." Where before, when I was, like, in a session with someone, it was like was so depleted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with say the crystals and the different type of stones like you're talking about, does it take say a certain belief to be able for that to work, or is it just kind of let it happen type thing, or
Yeah. So, if you just get them and obviously like you get them and you want to make sure they're like cleansed and cleared and in a good safe space, they'll passively, like even if you just have them, they'll be helping you, but it's not the same as actually like invoking and activating crystalline energy. And that's like really simple to do. So, but like do you follow sports or like, so
very rarely?
okay, but I'm gonna give you this analogy, and if it doesn't track, we'll work with a different one.
Okay.
So like think about it like okay, so there's a game. Think about it like the game of life, right? And you have your whole team. You have like your crystals, and they're cheering for you, but they're on the bench. Okay,
Okay.
and then, so that's passive, right? Because they're cheering for you, but they're not doing anything. They're just like, yeah,
All
you
right.
got this. Way to go. Like, I mean, you're feeling like that they're giving you some positivity. You're feeling the good vibes. But then when we activate crystals, we're literally like, hey, you guys on the bench, I'm going to need you to actually come into this game of life and like actually make moves for me. So, like, you see
Okay.
the difference?
Yeah, I
So,
understand that.
yeah, so when we just activate crystals, and it doesn't have to be like some grand thing, all you do is like if you have the crystals, or really you can even like call on the energetics of that crystal too if you don't have it. But if you have the crystal, like let's say you have your black tourmaline, your hematite, like all you have to do is like either hold them or like connect with them, you have them in front of you, whatever, and you're just like, hey, black tourmaline and hematite, I need you to help me in my life. And you could be like, even if you didn't know, like I had never told you what they did, you could be like, look, I just need you, like all the properties, all of the things, like all of your abilities, I just need you to help me in my life by doing that. By like whatever
Hmm.
you feel is necessary. And then you could just like literally talk to them. Or like if you have a specific intention, like, hey, I'm really taking on other people's stuff, and so I'm gonna need you to help me with that. But I like to do like that more open so it doesn't limit you. Like if the crystal wants to, help bring more opportunities, or it wants to whatever it wants to do in your life, like help protect your health, for example, then that can still do it. But really it's just asking it to help, and then
Okay.
like, hey, I want you to like invoke your crystalline energy and just like help me, and just keep doing that constantly. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll definitely have to check out those. I'll ask you again later on how to actually pronounce them, so I don't keep kind of messing them up.
Yeah, it's okay.
So you said you went and got certified to do what you do. Where do you go get certified for like the crystals for the
Yeah.
Reiki?
Yeah, so, there are many people that do Reiki certifications, and it was funny because when I learned, so before I was getting, so now it's been like 9 years, but at the time I'd only been getting Reiki for a few years, and I was getting it every single month, but I was like, I had no idea, right, that there were levels to Reiki. I thought it was just like, "Oh, yeah, you just, like, go through a certification and you're done," not knowing that, like, level 1 is about your connection with the modality of Reiki. So it's really about, like, your connection with Reiki. It's, like, more of a self, right? And then level 2 is the ability to infuse the healing modality in anything that holds energy and be considered a practitioner.
Right.
And so you can work on anything that holds energy, like people, plants, spaces, all that stuff. And then level 3 and 4, so that is the master level. And that's also like the master teacher level, which is what I am. I'm a Reiki master. And so had no idea. Right. And
Mhm.
so, but most people will either just do like level 1, and then when they're ready, they'll do level 2, or they'll do like level 1 and then a month later, or a certain amount of time later, do level 2. I actually offer group and one-on-one, in person and virtual, but then there's other places you can just look up Reiki trainings, for example. Um, I'll eventually do a crystal healing course. It's just not something I'm focused on right now. But the lineage that I went through for crystal healing is actually out of Hawaii.
Okay.
And so they're through like the healing arts, and with Katrina Raphael. But there's other many courses on crystal healing, and every single lineage has different parameters. Like with my crystal lineage, it was all about really making sure that people understood their healing and giving notes afterwards so that it wasn't just like a one and done or like, oh, this was something cool, but I actually don't remember anything that happened, right?
Right.
And then there's many places where you can get certifications for Vedic astrology, for Qigong, for Chinese medicine, Ayurveda. So,
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was curious about that because you said you're certified in how many different things for what you do?
officially, I guess you would say in 3 of what I
Okay.
do, but then I've taken a lot of courses. And a
Gotcha.
lot of stuff that has happened has actually been like through my own experience as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, have you? When exactly did you find out that you wanted to be basically an alignment therapist, right?
Yeah, so I came up with alignment alchemist maybe
Yeah.
9 months ago, but it took me 5
Oh.
years to get there because at first I was just like, I'm a Reiki practitioner. Right? I wasn't like I didn't even know I was, like, a crystal healer, right? And then it was like people be like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm" then it was like, "I'm a Reiki practitioner and I'm a crystal healer." And then it was like and then I was like, "I'm a Reiki practitioner, a crystal healer, and a Vedic astrologer. And oh, by the way, I do all these other things." Like, I use all these other modalities, right? And so it got to be, like, a lot. And then it's funny because I have friends in the community and they're like, yeah, I just tell people I'm a Reiki practitioner, Reiki master. And I'm like, when I would do that, people would look at me and they'd be like, okay, cute, next. But so I was like, yeah, that's not working for me. And then I kind of like noodled around intuitive energy healer. And then
Okay.
people were like, some people really like that, but some of my friends were like, yeah, I'm referring you, and people don't like that. And I was like, okay, that's like an indication from the universe, like that's actually not who I am. And then I came
Mhm.
up with alignment alchemist because that's essentially what I do. And also, I wanted to get a little bit away from healing just because I think people have this connotation around healing where they have to get ready to heal.
Yeah.
It gets really intense, and it doesn't have to be. Like, you don't have like, it's just like, just walk through the door, you know? And then, the alchemist, I mean, I'm blending a bunch of different modalities. And also, I don't know, when I hear about like alchemy, it's like fun. It's like got this like, I have like my witch's hat on, but you can't, so it's fun.
That's awesome. So you talked about the oils earlier.
The
The
olive
Reiki
oil
oils?
or the
Yes.
olive oil? Yeah.
So, is that just, like, basically what you could cook with, or is it rub on the skin? What kinda oils we talking about?
Yeah, definitely. So, how I got into this was starting to import extra virgin olive oil from Extremadura, Spain. So, that's near the Portuguese border. And I still am doing that currently. And then I infuse it with the Reiki healing energy to
Okay.
help raise its vibration. But yeah, so if you go down, um, you'll be able to see it by collection. Yeah, if you just keep going. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. And so I started importing it, and like I said, it's extra virgin olive oil. It comes
Okay.
from the first cold press, and that's really important. That's a cold press because when you extract olive oil and you heat up the olives, then our body doesn't receive the oil and the benefits. And so basically they press it, they strain it, and that's what's in the bottle. And so it's not a blended olive oil. It's literally one type of olive, one ingredient, and it comes from that area. And then
Okay.
like I said, I infuse it with the Reiki healing energy. And so on my main website, there are also some like if you go to like the services tab, I think. Um,
Let's see if it'll load. I was having trouble with it loading on my computer earlier.
okay,
So
yeah,
let's see
like
if it'll load.
yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
guess.
Alright. Never mind.
But yeah, if you go to the services or you go to like www.torysachs.com, it will
Yeah.
actually show you like some recipes as well that we've worked with. Really, so it's really nice and like salad dressing. We made olive oil cake. I've made pesto with it. I've made so many different amazing things with the olive oil because it's just so pure, right? And it's really good for you. But I also work with essential oils too. But yeah, that's how I got started. Really, I mean, thanks to the olive oil is how I
All right.
became a healer.
All right. Sorry, it's messing up on that side.
Oh, okay, no worries.
But so that's how you became a healer.
Yeah, that's I mean, because literally I went to Reiki training to infuse the olive oil with Reiki healing energy because my friend was like,
Okay.
"Hey, I'm like, yeah, let's do this." And then not knowing that there were that needed to go through 2 levels. Because at that time I wasn't ready to be a master, a Reiki master. So I'm like, oh, okay. And not knowing that there was a chakra cleanse involved. And then everybody at my Reiki training was like, yeah, Tori, you're just doing this for the olive oil. Like everybody else knew. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I started practicing and I was like, oh no, this I need to work on other people. People really need it, especially now too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, especially now. Um that's crazy cool, honestly. So you went out there for some courses and you found basically this is what you want to do. You mixed these in, you've allowed joy to take over at some point,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, for sure. So actually the olive oil was named something else because I used to have a business partner with the olive oil, but yeah, when I rebranded, it's called Fabula de Alegria, which means fable of joy, right? The olive oil. And so really that is kind of my soul's purpose, my spiritual body, right? My soul's purpose is to help lift out that joy, bring joy back to people. I mean, when people come in for a session, they feel lighter and brighter.
Right.
They don't feel so weighed down. And that's just me being a conduit, it's really coming through me. It's not me. It's the sacred space of the client and myself so that their joy can bubble up so they can really shine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. That's awesome.
Thank
So do you plan on potentially expanding where you're at? Like you're say a place of business, I'm sure you got a place of business, right?
I do have my
So
office. Yeah.
so are you looking to expand? Like make it potentially where you can travel to different places for these things or do they have events that you can go to for the crystals and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, totally. I went to the Denver Gem Show a few years ago, and I would love to go when my time is right to the Tucson Gem Show. That's actually the largest, both national and internet, national if we just look at the US, but international gem show in the whole world. And there's some amazing pieces. So yeah, no, there are I mean, I think we're never stagnant, right? We think we are. We can be a little adverse to change, but I think we're always growing and evolving. Even
Yeah.
if it's just 1 millimeter. So I think in my business, this year, I started offering Reiki trainings to be
Okay.
able to start attuning people to level 1 and level 2 and potentially, further down the road might do master level as well. And then I know in the future I will be working on some crystal courses to help educating people in crystal healing and just cuz I know that I came here to not only serve but to teach and share, right? I think a lot of times people can just keep the knowledge to themselves, and I think it's a little bit of a disservice, and there's so much that just wants to come out, and I know that I am a vehicle of that. Um, I'm starting to do more local workshops here in Dallas, but
Okay.
my business is also virtual as well, so I can go anywhere. And I'd eventually love to be a part of retreats either here or somewhere else.
Okay. How accepting was your family and friends of this found journey of yours?
Yeah, totally. I'm really fortunate that my family is really so accepting of me, and my path. There have definitely been moments where they're like, "Are you sure about this story?" Like, um, but I do have a really good. I mean, I love that just the other day. my dad was like, "Oh, yeah, you could put this aside for the ancestors to, like, feed them." But, like, if you had told me that my dad would have said that, like, 5 or 10 years, I would have been like, that's crazy. Like, that would never come out of my dad. Like, the ability to, like, it's definitely, like, a process and, like, education
Yeah,
as well, but also through this, like, I found out that there's been, like, other family members that have, like, been more open or had, like, visions or certain things. I mean, we all are, like, have the ability to tap into the different clairs, right? It's just, like, are we continuing to practice that and, like, believe? So I've been really fortunate, that my family has been as supportive as they have been.
that's good. I'm happy to hear that. Unfortunately, there's a lot of families out there that they don't support whoever is trying to chase that big dream. And obviously, this is something that you're really into. So to have the support behind you is definitely helpful, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I'm very blessed.
That's awesome. What about in your area? Like you said you're in Dallas, right?
Mhm.
I'm basically halfway down from you. I'm in San Antonio.
Yeah, my dad used to live in San Antonio, so, like, I used to have I still have family in San Antonio, yeah.
Um, how supportive is your community to what you do, or do people not know?
So, I would say, like, people are much more open to it now than, let's say, 5 years ago.
Oh,
I would
definitely.
say even people, like and even, like, 5 years ago, people were, like, more open to it than 9 years ago, right, when I
Yeah.
first and, like, I'm also, like it's so funny because I'm so entrenched in it that I'll
Mhm.
like, just think about, like, social media, right?
Yeah.
I'll be, like, thinking about making a video, and for, like, a really long time, I was like, "Oh, I don't need to make a video on, like, how to sage and Palo Santo or whatever, just, like, how to set up sacred space," because I'm like, "Everybody already knows about this." Like, you start talking to people and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Tori, I had no idea," and I'm like, "What? How did you not know?" But it's 'cause, like, I'm so entrenched in the work and in the space, but I would say also now people there is a hunger, there is a craving for it, and I think people are also in a place where they're just so much more open to healing and alignment, and they're searching for other ways to get that versus what has been deemed mainstream as conventional.
Yeah. Well, it definitely helps having people be more open nowadays because I know exactly what you mean. Say if when I was younger, I used to walk around with my uncle because I believe in like the paranormal, really
Yeah,
big. I do.
I sense that for you, yeah.
Then my uncle is very big into it as well, and we'd be talking about it, not realizing, like paying attention to our surroundings. And then once our conversation is up, you'd have one of those rude people. They'd get basically mad that we're talking about it in public, or you shouldn't be talking about something like that, especially under God's eye, da da da, all this other stuff. So it kind of at one point almost felt intrusive
Yeah,
to
totally.
speak or to even acknowledge that that's something that you were into. But nowadays, everybody is more open.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, 5 years ago when I first got attuned, I said I was a Reiki practitioner, and people are like, "Reiki? What?" And they look at me like I had sprouted, like, 5 other heads, and I was I'm speaking English." And now I say it's like, "Oh, yeah," like, so many more people have had, like, experiences, or they've at least heard about it, or they're curious about it, right?
Mhm.
Like, to your point, being in Texas where there is, like, a lot more religious influence,
Yeah.
I've gotten that question a lot, and, it's interesting, and, like, that's actually, like, led me to read the Bible just to, like, understand
Yeah.
where people are coming from, but it's, like, been really interesting because both in the New and the Old Testament, it talks about, like, Moses in the Old Testament, Jesus in the New Testament talks about how they healed with their hands.
Yeah.
That's what I do with Reiki. I'm not saying I am any of those people. I am a human. I just wanna be clear, but we have those abilities, and we're
Yeah.
all created in God's divine image. So if we have a little bit of the divine, why can we not facilitate healing
Right. Because basically, the healing that you do is like pulling from the energy of the world, of
of sorts?
nature.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Of the sword.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's doing any damage. It's not gonna hurt us. It's not gonna hurt the world.
Yeah.
It's so I definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like, many people use different vocabulary, and I use different vocabulary depending on who I'm talking to. So, like,
Mhm.
if you believe in God, like, I'm using God's energy to
Mhm.
facilitate healing. If you believe in the divine universe, source, certain deities, I work with all of those, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. If you're not open uh to, I guess, working out of what may not be in your comfort zone, then uh frankly you have to l- learn that maybe you need to take a different approach into, I guess.
Yeah, so when I'm working with people or their space or their animal, right? The animals are like so much easier than people, honestly. But um so I'm calling on their highest soul consciousness, their higher
Mm,
self, right?
yeah.
So, and what I do is consent based, like, because it's a sacred space. And I take like that very, it can't just be like willy nilly over here,
Yeah.
that's not nice. That's not right. But those are like really specific guidelines and boundaries. And then like I take being a channel, a vessel, a vehicle very seriously. Like I've given up alcohol um so that I am able to be clear. Like I am able to do what I need to do every single day at any given moment, because there have been moments where people have been like, "Hey, so and so needs something." And if I was drinking, I wouldn't be a clear channel in my eyes, right?
Right.
So, um that's really important. But if someone is not open to it, they will not receive. Like you have to be open to receive. But if they're
Yeah.
not open, but their higher self is open, they will receive some of the benefits. They just won't
Uh,
receive, like, it's thinking like all the doors are open, right? So like if you go up to a house and you knock on the door and they're like, no, you not cannot come in here, but a window is open, like if the higher self is like, yeah, you can come in, then the window is open, right? So like
mm,
something is like, hey, I just wanted to wish you well or whatever. I just wanted to send you some healing. So like
right.
we'll still get some of the benefits. It's just not going to be like as direct or like get the full vibration or intensity as like if someone is like, yes, I'm so open to this, my higher self is so open to this, like I'm so open, right? Like then like all the doors are open, like the front door is open, right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's fair because you just gotta have to. You kind of have to make yourself available.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you have to be available and open, and if people are not, then it's just not meant for you, and that's okay. Like that's your
Exactly.
karma, and that's like, what we were talking about earlier about helping other people. Like really being conscious about helping those that really want my help.
Yeah.
And really like mean it instead of like, "Oh yeah, I want your help, but I don't want it in these ways," right? So,
Yeah.
just like using discernment.
No, 100%. Unfortunately, there's people, they want the help, but they only want it basically their way. They
Correct.
don't want to take in, oh, hey, maybe I should stop doing this of what I'm doing and change. But, people got to learn their own way. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't the easiest for you, especially at first coming out to discuss the being into crystals and other things. I'm sure people judged you and that might have make you feel different, right?
Yeah.
But you just kind of owned it and
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing, is owning what you want to do, following what you want to do. And if whatever comes that you might need to change in your life, either coming in the future or present, you at least know what you can do to make that happen.
Yeah, definitely. I would say, it is like a very spiritual path, um, being a healer, being working with a lot of these modalities. And to your point, it was a journey. Like 5 years
Mhm.
ago, just be like, yeah, I'm do Reiki, or I wouldn't even tell certain people that I did Reiki. It would just be more about the olive oil. And then as I like grew in my confidence and my abilities and also like walking the path, I would say like 2 years ago when I became a master, when I became a Reiki master teacher. And really, when we say like Reiki master, it's really just Reiki teacher, right? When you become a master, you devote yourself to the modality.
Yeah.
You devote yourself to the path. And it took like giving up and walking a path of much more empowerment, or just like, okay, this is what needs to happen no matter what. Like even if I'm scared or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, now it's like anyone that asks me, I'm like, yeah, I'm an alignment alchemist. Yeah, I'm a Reiki master. This is a part of who I am. You don't like it?
Mhm.
Okay, just like I'm going to walk away, or you can walk away. But it no
Right.
longer is like, because I don't have a choice in the matter, right? I've like
Yeah.
completely given myself to it.
Well, which is good. Obviously, it's worked for you. Very much so.
Oh, thank you.
And it's something to be proud of. You followed along. You haven't let people kind of you haven't allowed people that's talked down on it
Yeah.
have that feeling of, I guess, the sensation of being right, because obviously they're wrong. It's working for you in some type of way. It's going to work for you even more. So just got to be open to the change, and obviously you very much so are. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be here talking to me today,
Proud.
because this is a difference from doing what you do every day to coming to talk to somebody that, well, frankly, talks too much sometimes.
I mean, like I said earlier, um, I am here to share. Like, I am
Yeah.
here to disseminate the information. I am not here to hold on to it. Like, that is very much like a part of my path and purpose. And that is a part of like walking this path with the modalities. And I like to say, if Reiki chooses you, whether you're working with Reiki just like, okay, I need to get some Reiki healing, I need some healing energy, or if you go into like the different paths of like being just, going through level 1 Reiki, going through level 2, or becoming a master, right? It chooses you and it decides like when you're ready. Like, it was funny. I was with my friend and she was like, honestly, Tori, I didn't think that I was going to be working with Reiki and bringing it more into like, she was talking about bringing it more into like her business and her life. And I was like, girl, you didn't have a choice. It chose you. Like, you have to answer the call. Like, you
Right.
do not have a choice.
How long does it take to go through, say, the classes like what you did?
Yeah, so if we're in person, it's like a 1 day, like 6 hours. If
Okay.
we're virtual, just because of like the computer and everything, it's still 6 hours, but we break it up into 2 3 hour
Yeah.
sessions or parts. And I typically say between like level 1 and level 2 to at least have a month, because once you get attuned or initiated, right, into level 1, then you go through a 21-day chakra cleanse. And
Okay.
so each one of your 7 chakras are getting cleared out. And we say like it's about 3 days per chakra, but honestly, with my experience, it could be like, oh, this chakra is getting cleared, and then it's moving to a different chakra, and it's like has no order, but it's just basically raising you to the vibration.
Mhm.
And then you receive certain symbols in level 1, and then in level 2 you get initiated to the level 2 frequency, which is different, and then you also get attuned to the symbols that correlate to that.
Okay. That's
So yeah, and then
that's cool to know.
yeah, no, it is. And that will also activate like a 21 level 2. Well, all of the levels will activate like a 21-day chakra cleanse afterwards. So that's why we talk about waiting, because we want to make sure that you're like fully in that level, right?
Yeah.
Before, I mean, some people will do 1 and 2 together. It's just, I prefer doing it this way. And that's how I've been told to do it. So.
So with the chakra cleanse, what happens in a cleansing?
Yeah, so an attunement or initiation, basically it's clearing out what doesn't serve you to get you to that level of Reiki, right? To like have that to be in alignment with that level of Reiki. So, um, for me, when I went through level 1, it wasn't really on the physical body, even though they talk about it, that level 1 can be more so on the physical body. Like, people have given up sodas, people have given up smoking, people have given up alcohol, people have given up like different foods, like sugar, just foods that all of a sudden they're like, I can't eat this. I like,
Mhm.
they'll try and eat it and then they'll just be like, I have to spit this out, right? It can literally bring up emotions that are no longer serving you, or like repress energies, or repress like situations or just for you to move through that have been really very deep. So it will really go through like all the different bodies that we've talked about, but it just depends like what needs to get cleared out. And then again, really going through like the different chakras, like, okay, so is there a little bit debris or is there like some blockage or is there like just a little bit something in the root, right? So, okay, we're gonna work on that one. Oh, okay, your throat chakra, like your throat, there's been like, you haven't been actively using your throat, or maybe you're overusing your throat. So we need to work on that. Like, so that will get cleared and it'll just go where it needs to go.
Speaking of that one, I just seen, I want to say it was your story, where it's the throat and the womb
Yeah.
are connected.
Yeah. So the throat is like really interesting because it's connected not only to the pelvis, but it's
Yeah.
also connected to the female organs and the womb as well. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So people
Yeah.
have like jaw pain, for example, there might be some imbalances in the pelvis, or like, is there trauma there? Was there stored trauma? Or was there lineage, ancestral trauma that got passed down? Like that was like, especially if you're a firstborn child, right? You're getting a lot more from the lineage than you might be getting like subsequent children because you're the first one hanging out in the womb, right?
Right. Right. Okay. No, I was curious about that because I seen that and I thought it was kind of funny you kind of mentioned part of it. So I was like, all right, I'm definitely gonna ask it. So I'm glad you remind me because I didn't write that down at all.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, like I said, we never know what we're going to talk about. We're just going to go on a journey.
oh yeah, definitely. And honestly, it's been a great conversation.
Oh, well, good.
I'm hoping that I can definitely get you back on here
Oh, thank
for
you.
another one. And maybe we'll see what the new journey has brought.
Yeah, who knows? I never know what we're going to focus on. It's like, it's wherever, like spirit, universe, God, like wherever they want us to go. That's what we need to talk about.
Right, right. And sometimes it's gonna be just a complete random
Yeah.
mess. So yeah.
Yeah. Is it ever really, or is it just trying to get us to the next place? There is this poem by Rumi that I love. It's called The Guest House. And it talks
Okay.
about how different emotions are coming up to clear space for where we need to be.
Okay.
Like even like the good, the bad, the in
Yeah.
between. But it's here to show it. Like it talks about welcoming them, bring them in for tea, like have a conversation, get curious with them. And yeah, it's exactly that.
Awesome. That's cool because I think that sometimes it's nice to get off uh the yellow brick road, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because if you're not willing to risk it and take that step off into the trees, sometimes you never know what you're going to come across. You might say doing the same thing, or you step off in the trees and you find something new that you enjoy to do that people don't always get to experience.
Exactly. Maybe you found like a magical path. Or, maybe if you stay on that yellow brick road, like down the way, it turns purple. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's the fun part about life. It throws curveballs sometimes.
Yeah, but sometimes they're the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, sometimes it definitely is. Um, Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it very much. Um, I am looking forward to another conversation with you, and I do want to see, uh, if you don't mind, we can schedule again and try to get you back on in a couple months
Great.
and see where you've gone, see what you've done.
There will definitely be some changes. We will be through Saturn retrograde, we'll be through eclipse season, and we'll probably, depending on the time, we might be in a Venus retrograde. So, yeah, we'll definitely be moving through a lot of energies for sure.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to see what comes of it.
Thank you. Same for you.
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Tori, for joining me.
Thank you.
And peace, everybody.